Ave Maria Stella.
Hello and welcome back to Vatican 20 Year. This is your host, Father Matthew Schneider. I am a priest of the Legionaries of Christ and I teach theology. This is a podcast in the StarQuest Production Network at sqpn.com. Today we're on day 268. We're covering Ad Gentes 37, which is on evangelization in your own community. If you want to follow along, we have a reading plan and more details at sqpn.com/Vatican and frmatthewlc.com/Vatican. Today's going to be a short one. Yesterday, we spoke about how we always must share the faith, first by witness, and we should be renewed with missionary zeal. Today, we're continuing chapter 6, cooperation, and we're going to talk about how we begin in local communities and unite ourselves to missionaries around the world. So, paragraph 37, all we're covering today, has 4 rather short subparagraphs. We're going to read A and B together. We begin in local communities and should spread out. And then we're going to talk about C and D together, unite ourselves with missionaries, and contact those from our region. To keep in contact, to keep that missionary zeal going in our local area, because for most of us live not in a mission territory. Most of us live in a place like I do, where I'm in Connecticut, and 30-40% of the population is Catholic here. Not everybody's practicing, but a certain portion is Catholic, so it's not considered mission territory. But it's great to hear the stories of missionaries all around the world that encourage me to live my faith better, and I hope they will encourage you too. So let's get straight into the first 2 subparagraphs. 37a. But since the people of God lives in communities, especially in dioceses and parishes, and becomes somehow visible in them, it is also good up to these to witness Christ before the nations. B. The grace of renewal cannot grow in communities unless each of these extends the range of its charity to the ends of the earth, and devotes the same care to those afar off as it does those who are its own members. I think these 2 numbers give us a very clear idea of this starting in community. We all live in communities. Obviously, I live in a religious community, but there is the community of the parish, the community of the diocese, the community of maybe you're involved in St. Vincent de Paul or a third order, or things like that. We're all in all these communities. This community and this common life, this common way of living, the sharing that Christians have is a form of witness. We should spread out from there. We begin here with our witness to each other, witness to all the nations, and from here we spread out to the nations, not just as individuals, but as a community. And we witness not just as individuals, but witness as community. The first people, when they had the first Christians, the pagans would say, see how they love one another. Is that still the case in our communities, our parishes, and things like that? And renewal begins with these communities, and they spread, and then they do acts of charity. They go out, and we keep caring for all. We care for each other nearby. We care for the missionaries. We begin with charity, and that unites us with all those around the world, all we need to unite with. Moving on to the second 2 subparagraphs, C and D, unite ourselves with missionaries and contact those from our region. So this is about prayer and about keeping in touch, keeping that missionary zeal going. Let's read it. 37c. Thus the whole community prays, works together, and exercises activity among the nations, through those of its sons whom God has chosen for this most excellent task. D. It will be very useful, provided that the universal scope of mission work is not thereby neglected, to keep in contact with missionaries who are from one's own community, or with some parish or diocese in the missions, so that the communion between the communities that may be visible and may serve for the mutual edification. We all need to pray for missionaries. We pray through them. We lead them. We are united with them in prayer. That is what the subparagraph C is really saying. We need to have that. We need to pray for the missions, pray for the missionaries, and be united with prayer with them. And hopefully our prayer will help them be fruitful, because we really want them to spread the gospel to all the nations. Then it's also helpful to have that universal sense, to have contact with the people of God from our area. It's great if we hear stories of somebody who's a missionary from our town who's now in Myanmar or in Bangladesh or in Sri Lanka or something like that, and the stories they're having of converting people there, or of the struggles they're going through, which can inspire us with zeal for bringing Christ to all the nations. And that's important. That shows us communion between the different parts of the church, because we are not just the church here in Connecticut or the church in Ontario or the church in Nebraska. We are the Church Universal, and we need to be united, all of us in these local churches here, with the Universal Church and the missionary areas around the world. As I noted, it was going to be short. Thank you for listening to this episode of Vatican II in a Year. This is a listener-supported podcast, and you can donate to help StarQuest produce it and other great podcasts at sqpn.com/give. You can give one-time monthly join the StarQuest Patreon. Tomorrow, we're going to continue with the next paragraph in Ad Gentes, which is paragraph 38, on the bishop's task in evangelizing. Please join us and learn more about Vatican II, which can provide a blueprint for the Catholic Church. If you want more information on the podcast, like playlist for individual documents and a reading plan, go to sqpn.com/Vatican, frmatthewlc.com/Vatican, or Vatican SQPN on Facebook and X. We also have an email set up for questions and comments, Vatican, the number 2 at sqpn.com, and my own website, frmatthewlc.com, has a contact form.
Amen.